Hey folks, welcome to Bare Metal Forge. Just a short video today, working on a few candlestick holders for upcoming Renaissance Fair here in Fayetteville. It'll be October 28th from 12 to 4 p.m. in Fayetteville. But yeah, I was trying to work on some old style looking candlestick holders for the upcoming event. I've got a few done, but I want to show you a process that I'm going through to try to make some of it here. Got a couple of the candle holders. These are going to be the cups. Instead of riveting them in, because it's hard to get something in here to rivet it, I'm just going to go kind of old school square head with it, and then we'll attach some handles to it, and that'll be 1/8 inch thick metal by maybe a 1/4 inch wide, 1/2 inch wide maybe, and then we'll forge that out to a nice handle. Already got a piece. Got a piece of pipe in here, and I'll get the phone set up so you can see how the process is done for making the cup for the candle. It isn't too bad, and I'll try to explain some of that stuff as I go along. But I got a process of what I'm doing, and I'll start off with a disc. Get it round. These are right at 3 inches. They work out really great. 3 inch works out really great for the candle cup that's going to catch the wax. That's what you do, is you dish it out. Then once you dish it out, you flip it over and you divot it from the back side, and that gives you that. And then once you get done with that, then you can fit your handle anywhere you want to. But the only reason I done these like that is just a reference, just to kind of keep a pattern going while I'm doing it, so that way I don't mess stuff up if I need a reference, if it winds up being a little while since I do one. So that's going to be that right there. But what we'll do is I'll get you set up and I'll let you see a process of making the candle cup. It's pretty simple, and I'll explain what I'm doing while we're doing it. What we'll do is we'll take this thing out, we'll get it on the horn and the anvil. A lot of folks will ping this and get your edge. But you get that thing on there, you rotate it, pivot it, you watch it as you're going, and that'll give you your roll over at the edge. Now you can do this however you want. This is just something I found that's a little bit easier to do over the horn and the anvil. And once it cools off, you knock it, get your scale off of it, and get it back in the fire. You don't want to work this metal too cold, because you can wind up splitting it, and then you'll have to start that cut all over again, and that's not good. But I was taking these things and I was actually painting them around the horn of the anvil to get that cut. But I got to figure it out that it's easier to put it on there, and you can work it around and make that cut just as easy, and it winds up coming out a little bit better looking. Keep in mind, these pipes, when you're working with them, that heat will travel them more quickly than a solid piece of stock will. As you can see, it's starting to get that little cut look to it. Once we get that done, then we'll put it in the jig and we'll make the bottom part. don't let that metal let that pipe get too cold. It won't take long to heat it back up, where you can work it and get that little lip on it. A lot of times you can take these things and tap it and turn it as you're tapping it, so it'll keep that lip even. This is what we're making, is the old style candlestick holders. I didn't rivet these. I did rivet the handles on them, and then I wound up doing like a small bolt. Is what you'll have to do is you'll have to take the candle cup, thread it, and then you can screw it on. Then once you do that, then you can kind of pull it off and look. And always check it to see where you're even at or uneven at. And that's one good thing about being able to screw it off and on, is you can take it and put that thing in there and unscrew it and put it on your belt grinder and grind it flat. And then the more you do that, the more even it'll sit. Because sometimes when you divot the inside of this thing, it can be off just a hair, and even when it's off just a hair, it'll show up here. So, and don't think if it doesn't look right here when you divot this, once you get a candle in it, you'll get that lean to it, and that's where it'll really show. So, but you have to go through and actually make sure that everything's kind of, and you can go through this and dish it. And I've got an old fire extinguisher cylinder, one of the larger ones, and that's what I dish these things in. And then I just flip it over on the anvil and divot the top of it. And then I already got that hole sized for the bolt that I use. But that's what they'll wind up looking like right there. Always check this thing to see how even you got it, because it'll tell on you. That's why you got to knock that scale off. Sometimes if you don't knock that scale off, it'll tell on you. You can see there we got that nice little lip. Now we'll put it back in the fire, and then we'll get it on the jig, and then that'll give us our piece at the bottom where we go onto our dish. Also with that, when you're working with that pipe, make sure you got your little slag tank handy or your water vat handy. That way you can dip that in that you're holding on, keep it in the water, keep it cool. I do have a glove on, but and it still gets hot to the glove, but if you want to, you can just keep it dipped in that water, and that'll keep the end cool that you're holding on to. Here is a jig I made specifically for doing the candle cuts. You just got to figure out what size hole you want, and then you can go from there and get your radius right. Now keep in mind, you don't have to have a perfect hole drilled through it. You just got to have enough of a radius there to work with the pipe as you're hammering it. That way it'll make a smooth transition and not sharp edges. And you don't want sharp edges. This jig is actually made out of a piece of a small leaf spring, and I've got a piece of I think it's 4160, I think, welded to the top with a hammer. And all you do is you put it in there and twist it as your hammer, and I'll show you that here in a minute. All right, got our piece hot. That's about where we want it. As you're doing this in this jig, because it's got that circular spot to it, when you rotate it around, if you can see it, you can see this piece move up. That'll show you your high spots. Then once you get your high spots done, then you start rotating a little bit faster. It's easier to work them hot than it is to let them cool off too much. But all this is a fuller and jig, and I'm taking it and essentially putting a fuller in that cup to make it. And then what you do is once you get that end done, you'll cut it off, and then you'll start on another cut. Once you start getting that metal hot, you keep it hot. It don't take long in that forward. That piece of it's actually come from the airport fighting fires where it came from. It come on a bigger extinguisher, but you can take and cut the top off of it, flip it upside down. All I did was I filled it full of expansion foam, and it just kind of ground this out, made it real smooth, and then that'll be the part that we can dish that bottom part with. That right there will become your cup. A lot of times the straighter you can make it before you cut it, that'll help out a lot. I always try to get your slag off of it. what we'll do is while we're going to cut this, put one of those discs, put one of those in the forge, let it get heated up, then we'll dish it out. This is just a tool I used for the smaller stuff that I put in and out of the forge. Just a simple piece of 1/8 inch rod, bent with a point, and an end put on it so I can reach in there and pull the stuff back to the front of the forge. Is your candle cup. And like I said, you can take these things and do them as extreme as you want to. You can actually keep on and keep rolling that thing right on around. It's however detailed you want to get with it. But like I said, this is what you'll come up with when you do the process that I'm doing. It's just something simple. Makes an old style candle holder. You got your lip, and then you got your stem that's going to hook to that dish that I'm doing. Like I said, these right here, they'll wind up, once you get it done, this will wind up with a 1/4 inch hole. Then you can thread it out and then use that little screw or flathead bolt to attach it to your dish. Baby. Wife said it out to go to town, so that's something else, folks. Always tell your spouse, I love you, because you never know when's the last time you're going to see them. When I dish these things out, I got a rounding hammer that I did. What I do is I use the rounding head to dish it down inside that cylinder. Put that in there, make sure it's nice and even. Alright, sometimes my jig sticks. We got it dished, put it back in the forge, get it hot, and then we'll divot that in right there where the hole is. And the handle on it, I'm really not going to show that. You can make that as detailed as you want. Forge a leaf on the end, some kind of spade, a finial, or you can leave it just as plain as you want. And you can do a penny scroll, forge it to a point and do your rat tail scroll, or you can leave it flat, forge it out, do your fishtail forge on it, and but you can do the handle however you want to. They're all going to wind up being the same way. You're going to leave one end alone, and then that way you can punch your holes, drill the holes, and then attach it to your disc or your catch for the candle wax. Do your divot in the middle of your dish. You can take your ball peen hammer. That's one good thing about it. You got a handle, hold it over it, hit it with your hammer, and you can take your time and try to get it as centered as you can. Then you can do little adjustments, little tweaks here and there. You can always look at it, because it still takes it a bit to get cooled off. Get everything evened up. And this right here is going to wind up being your wax cut for it. See how it's dished in here now? And then that's pretty much it. But that's going to be it right there. Is what you'll do is now you'll take that thing. You already got a 1/4 inch hole for your rivet, your bolt, your screw, whatever you want to use in here. And then you'll take that cut that you did, and then that will get put in there. And then you can put your handle wherever you want, whatever style of handle you want. But that's the gist of it. But like I said, once you get everything together, before you lock it down, make sure everything's tight, everything's square. And I think this one is pretty much how I want it. It worked out pretty good. So I think we've actually got this dished out even. And a lot of times if you'll dish the inside of this and you do it evenly, you really won't need to do much adjusting with your cup and your bolt. Everything will wind up locking tight and being straight. And like I said, then all you got to do is you'll drill 2 holes and you'll just forge rivet your handle on. And like I said, you can do your handle however you want. You can either forge it hot, you can forge it cold. If you want to do just a simple a simple scroll with the handle. It depends on what you're looking at. Some of these is what I did. That's all I did was just a simple scroll with them. But like I said, this is 1/8. Actually, it's not quite. It's not quite a 1/4. It's 1/8 inch thick, and it's about a 1/2 inch wide. And that's all I did was rivet it to it. And that's pretty much it. And I hope y'all liked the video today. I tried to keep it from being too long. I'm still in the process of trying to learn how to edit. I haven't quite got that down pat yet. But anyway, y'all be safe out there in your forge. Please get out there and just do something. But be safe. And we'll see you on the next one. And if you like it, hit that like button and definitely hit the subscribe button. And we'll see you later.